And nearly 2 millennia ago, on a Friday that changed history forever, Jesus was crucified. His death was one of the most harrowing and intense moments ever recorded. Crucifixion of Jesus, narrated in the four Gospels of the New Testament, reveals much more than physical pain. It brings a profound and revealing spiritual dimension. But what really happened that day? And why was the pain he felt different from that of any other crucified man? What was behind the blood, the crown of thorns, and the cry of abandonment? Stay with me until the end, and you will understand the true weight of the cross and why it changes everything, including your life. Scholars indicate that Jesus began his ministry around the age of 30 and died about 3 years later, probably at the age of 33. However, establishing the exact date of his death is not simple, as there is a known error in the current calendar, which moves Jesus' birth to between 6 and 4 BC. This means his death may have occurred between 27 and 29 AD. Jesus' arrest took place on a Thursday, after being betrayed while praying in Gethsemane. Brought before the Sanhedrin, Judaism's highest religious council, Jesus was falsely accused of blasphemy and unjustly condemned. The Sanhedrin, however, lacked the legal authority to impose the death penalty. Therefore, the case was handed over to the Roman governor of Judea, Pontius Pilate. Pilate hesitated, fearing political unrest. He even sent Jesus to Herod Antipas, but Herod Antipas refused to try him either, sending him back to Pilate. Fearing a riot, Pilate yielded to public pressure and authorized the execution. Jesus was then brutally flogged with a leather and metal whip. This instrument had bone points and hooks that tore deeply into the flesh, reaching even the internal organs, causing severe bleeding and shock. Besides the physical suffering, Jesus was subjected to humiliation. Soldiers mocked him, dressing him in clothes that imitated royal attire. A crown made of thorns was placed on his head. Experts claim that the thorns struck the cranial nerves, causing excruciating pain. The soldiers spat on Jesus, struck him on the head with a club, and insulted him. After this torture, he was taken to be crucified. The crucifixion took place outside the city. The condemned carried the horizontal beam of the cross, weighing about 20 kilograms. In extreme cases, they carried the entire cross. Jesus, extremely weak, was unable to complete the journey and received assistance from Simon of Cyrene, who helped him carry the cross. At Golgotha, his hands and feet were nailed with nails nearly 5 inches long. Unbearable pain ensued as he was lifted onto the cross. On the cross, Pilate had a plaque placed that read, "King of the Jews," further fueling public ridicule. Crucifixion was one of the cruelest punishments of the time. Slaves and criminals were the main targets of this brutal form of execution. The condemned remained naked, exposed to public view, enduring extreme thirst, cramps, muscle pain, open wounds, and continuous bleeding. Some scholars claim that, depending on the location, birds of prey attacked those crucified while still alive, further increasing the horror. Death by crucifixion could take hours or days. In some cases, the legs of the condemned were broken to hasten death. Jesus was crucified between 2 criminals. He refused a drugged mixture of wine and myrrh and was later given vinegar on a sponge. He remained hanging for about 6 hours, from 9 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon, surrounded by several women and the Apostle John. While some wept, others mocked. During the crucifixion, Jesus uttered 7 phrases that reveal his mission and divinity. The Bible records supernatural phenomena at that moment: darkness covering the land, an earthquake, and the veil of the temple being torn from top to bottom. Physiologically, it is uncertain whether he died of asphyxiation, heart failure, or hemorrhage, but we know that he gave up his spirit to the Father. A Roman soldier pierced Jesus' side with a spear, and blood and water gushed out, confirming that he was already dead. Because it was the eve of the Sabbath, his body was removed and not left on the cross, as was the case with other criminals, whose remains were left there. Unlike others, Jesus received a dignified burial in a new tomb, from which he would rise gloriously on the 3rd day. But the essential thing is to understand the true meaning of this death. It was more than physical suffering. It was a divine act, an eternal sacrifice. Others were also crucified before and after Jesus. So what made his death different from all others? It was its spiritual weight. In his death, Jesus bore divine judgment. He bore God's wrath against humanity's sin. The deepest pain he felt was not physical. It was the pain of being abandoned by the Father, of experiencing what hell would be like in our place. Jesus, who dwelt in glory, hung on a cross, cursed for our sins, facing loneliness and rejection. When he cried out, my God, why have you forsaken me?" he expressed the deepest spiritual agony ever experienced. But at the same time, his death was the greatest revelation of divine grace. There, God demonstrated his eternal love for us. It wasn't the cross that awakened God's love. It was love that led Jesus to the cross. This plan existed before the foundation of the world. The cross was the visible fulfillment of an eternal purpose, the immaculate lamb given up for us. And the blood Jesus shed was for me, for you, for all of us. This is what gives meaning to your pain and your victory. Share this video with someone. May more people know the depth of God's love revealed on the cross of Christ.